Well, it's time to talk about North Melbourne, and he joins us on Fox Footy Live. Thanks for having a chat, Rhyce. You don't strike me as the sort of bloke that would enjoy isolation. Can you tell us how you've been filling your days?
Yeah, g'day guys. It's been an interesting experience, to say the least. The days are going pretty slow at the moment, but filling them with a bit of interaction with the boys. We've got a few things going on online, which is great. So spending a bit of time doing that, but also obviously preparing for whatever's next in terms of our season.
What do you do? What do you do tactically? So the connection piece is a big one, and obviously you're focusing on that, talking to the boys over the web. But what do you do tactically, mate? You know, with you and the other coaches, can you do any sort of planning?
I think Brownie, we had a really good look at our last month of footy, so that we had 2 Marsh games, a pracky game in between the 2 Marsh games, and obviously round 1. So we did a bit of a review on that, had a look at it, see where our failings were, tried to put some stuff together for when we do come back. But it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. But we can certainly plan for the upcoming season in whatever shape that comes, because we've got plenty of time to do it.
Rhyce, I'm sitting here, and we're like everyone's sitting here thinking what is going to happen at the end of this year. And I was thinking today, I'm doing a big feature on someone, and I was just thinking, what are the coaches? Are the coaches getting together and thinking, right, what tactics? It's a great question by what Brownie just asked there. What are you spitballing? You've had one game at 16-minute quarters. You're going to be playing every 4 or 5 days. What tactics or what are you spitballing, which will be quite different to previous years?
Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting. I think if we are playing, and let's say we are playing every 3 or 4 days, we're going to have that squad mentality. We're going to have to rotate players. And we've had a little bit of a chat about that, particularly early on before round 1, because we didn't know what the second, third, and fourth weeks were going to look like. But we've planned for a little bit for that, and seeing what players are going to be impactful for us. We had a really interesting situation in the first game where we literally played with 19 players for the second half of the game, and we only rotated 6 times in the last quarter. So we had a good look at what that looks like from a rotation point of view. And if something did happen like that again, and you've got to play 3 or 4 days later, you've got to have squad players ready to go. So we were looking at a bit of that, and having a look at the English Premier League and seeing how they rotate their players and what they do when they're not playing.
Just further on that, so you had the 3 injuries. It was a magnificent comeback win, absolutely magnificent. Great coaching, great effort by the players. Are you saying that because you had low rotations, could that be a way forward in these reduced minutes in quarters?
Well, it's certainly something you've got to look at, Robbo. I think you can get caught up in the high rotation game, but if you don't need to rotate because of the short quarters, then why do it? That's my question, but we'll certainly have a look at what that looks like.
Sure, do you think to the eye it looked like the game was a better product, the shorter quarters? It seemed more free-flowing, maybe more ballistic, seemed higher scoring, so that's obviously what we want. Do you think that'll be the norm with these shorter quarters, or do you think obviously coaches, like you always do, you make an adjustment and then things will tighten up again?
Yeah, I think we'll make some adjustments, but it certainly did look like a really good product. I watched most of the games over the weekend and leading up to our game, and it certainly did catch my eye that how good the game was. It was really ballistic footy. It was really exciting. Like even that first game, the Richmond's first quarter, it was great to watch. And maybe it will turn out like that. Maybe the game is going that way, and maybe the AFL will stick with that kind of timeline, because it did certainly catch the eye in terms of the footy that was played, but I think it probably was good for the public as well.
Rhyce, you mentioned the English Premier League. What did you learn from the game over there and the way they rotate squads on a weekly basis?
Yeah, well, I think it probably lends itself to a little bit of they don't rotate during the game as much. They have the substitutions, and we had a good look at. I had a good look at that, especially after our game, and just looking at the numbers from our players. It was interesting to see how we ran out the game with only one guy on the bench. So it's something that we might have to look at with 3 or 4 day breaks and substituting players into the team and seeing how they go off 3 or 4 days. And if you've got to do that 2, 3, 4 times in a row, then you're going to have to use depth players. And I think everyone on our list is going to be playing a part in our season if it does end up like that.
Does that automatically make you say or make you think that you need bigger lists, or you need to keep the lists rather than reduce the lists?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Robbo. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they go. But I'd suggest we'd be looking at keeping our lists the way they are if we're going to be playing 3 or 4 days back to back.
Well, no one knows what's going to happen at the end of the season. The AFL spitballing, to use the same word, a lot of scenarios at the moment. The one that's been talked about is the hub. I was talking to an AFL player yesterday who's a father of children, and he said to me that he would prefer, if they had to move interstate in a situation of 4, 5, 6 weeks, that he would prefer not to play and sit at home with his family. Have you spoken to any of your players, especially the fathers and the family players, about that scenario if it did come up?
No, not yet, Robbo. I think there is a lot going on, and we are creating some stories that might not come to fruition. But we will talk about that stuff when it comes to it. But yeah, it is a really tricky situation. Guys that I know a couple of our guys are expecting babies in the next 2-3 months, so it's certainly going to be hard on them. I don't see how they'll play a part, but look, when it comes to that, we'll cross that bridge.
So what's the plan of attack with the players? Connecting with the players, Shawry, is it a nightly thing? You work during the day? How many players are you trying to connect with daily or weekly?
Yeah, some of them I'll stay away from, mate, to be honest. It's actually good. But
Who? You can't say that without saying who.
Oh, no, mate. Sorry, Robbo, I'll leave that one. You can probably work it out. But nah, look, our group's fantastic. I love our footy club. I love the people involved in our footy club. It's so important. The whole group connects, and yeah, we've been trying to stay in touch with all the players as much as we can. We probably our big ticket item at the moment is a bit of coffee club. We do that twice a day. You can come and go as you please. You don't have to sit there and have a chat, but it's something that's it's great for the guys to get on. They know it's always there. If they are feeling a bit isolated, they can jump on and just have a chat. Jasper Pittard's the mainstay of the group, so he's always interesting.
It was a terrific article in the Herald Sun on Jasper. It was a really good insight. Good on it. Now, what are you watching on TV, Rhyce, that you thought you'd never watch? My wife and I just watched The Tiger King.
Same as everyone else.
I haven't. Yeah. I don't know anything about it. I haven't watched it.
Oh, Robbo, it's right up your alley.
No, it's not, Rhyce. Will you give us a movie?
You strike me as he could have a Tiger Zoo, I reckon. Robbo would be
I'm not putting it past him.
I have not seen it. I heard Dermot Brereton talking about it today on radio.
Yeah.
Give us a quick review of it, Rhyce.
Yeah, other than being it right up your alley, it's an interesting show. It's about this guy who's got a zoo, and I can't remember the name of the town, Winnerville or something.
Yeah.
And he's got 200 tigers. I can't believe it.
Sounds great. That's up your alley, Robbo.
Robbo's got a bit of Joe Exotic about him, doesn't he, Shawry?
Yeah,
don't know.
Joe Exotic.
He's the main character.
Hey, Rhyce, before we let you go,
Hang on, we've got to ask about his brother.
oh, go, yes.
Now, Rhyce, you're calm. You're a fantastic bloke, and I'm not just saying that because you're on here. Everyone who meets you just says you're a ripper bloke. Now, your brother, everyone who meets your brother thinks he's been eating Smarties and everything all day and drinking red cordial. How in the hell is he dealing with isolation?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting one, Robbo. I just had a chat with him before. We were talking all things footy and everything else, and actually a bit of Tiger King because he just watched it, and knowing Heath, he did it his way. He watched the whole thing in one night. That's the only way he can do it. But yeah, look, I know he's struggling. He's actually struggling so much. He wants to go back to training, so it's been tough for him. But look, he wants to make the most of it. I think obviously it's going to be his last season.
Yep.
I should hope. And he wants to play, and like a lot of other players, he can't wait to get out there. And I know they'll do anything they can to play footy. So he's fit. He seems pretty good. But the phone calls are starting to come thick and fast, so he must be getting a bit bored.
Rhyce, I'm sure you'll be sitting on the couch tonight watching Fox Footy when we play the 50th best game of the last 50 years as voted by the fans. We've got 50 to 37. We've released 50 to 37 over the past day or so. Game number 45 is the 1977 grand final, the draw. What do you remember about that day?
Well, I wasn't born yet, Tom, but...
Fantastic.
I actually, I really, it probably resonates with me so much, this game, from both sides now. I'm obviously coaching North Melbourne and was their second premiership. But my old man played in the game for Collingwood as well. So I got a bit of both sides. The North Melbourne people, they talk it up like it's the greatest thing ever, and it is a grand final victory after a draw. And then Collingwood are like the one that got away. So
Was your old man captain?
No, he wasn't. No, Dad was captain 79, 80, 81.
Right.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does he ever talk about the fact that Twiggy Dunn went back to equal the game? He's kicked a torp from 30 out directly in front.
And nailed it.
Brownie, 20 minutes ago I had a conversation with him, and that's all he's talked about. Could not believe it.
Could you imagine that in this day and age, going back and kicking a torp?
Having the
30 out
nerve.
the grand final.
Having the nerve to do it. And what everyone talks about the kick, no one talks about how courageous and what a great mark it was. Pack mark, minutes to go, and Twiggy Dunn did the whole lot. It was a magnificent period, magnificent minute from an individual player.
Absolutely. He would have been 75 kilos wringing wet too, Twiggy. He's not a big man.
No, he wasn't a big man.
Hey, Rhyce, just before we let you go, what year were you born?
I was 81.
Nice, awesome. So -4, all good. We'll make sure you can watch that game at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'm sure you'll be up and tuning in.
Beautiful.
Set your IQ. I'm sure it's on KO Sports as well on Fox Footy. So thanks very, very much for having a chat to us. We appreciate your time, and good luck for the rest of isolation. We'll see you soon.
No worries. Thanks very much, guys.
See you, sure.
Thanks to Rhyce Shaw.